Thank you, Leslie. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone who has joined this webinar on a Friday afternoon. The objective of the webinar is to give you some information on the submission of pilot projects under the Basel Convention's Plastic Waste Partnership. I will be telling you briefly about the partnership and its work, and mainly focus on what pilot projects are, as they are foreseen under the partnership, and the process for submitting proposals for pilot projects. And finally, I'll be taking questions at the end of the session. The Basel Convention Plastic Waste Partnership was established by the Conference of the Parties to the Basel Convention, which is the governing body of the convention, in 2019. The objective was to respond to the emergency to address pollution from plastic waste. And at the same time as establishing this partnership, the Conference of the Parties also adopted amendments to the annexes of the Basel Convention, thereby broadening the scope of plastic waste that are controlled under the convention. The membership of the partnership is open to parties and observers to the convention, and we currently have 205 representatives from 106 entities, including parties, private sector companies, and civil society. I apologize for this interruption, but it seems that some participants have trouble hearing my voice. If you have problems or if it's clear for you. If you
it's clear, Melissa. Melissa, it's clear.
Thank you.
It's audible.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also,
all right. Thank you all for this show of the indication. So
the voice is clear for me also.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Okay, that works. It seems that it's for most people it's clear. It's just a few participants are having trouble, so I will ask these to adjust their audio settings. So thank you. So
okay.
The partnership is co-chaired by Mr. Thomas Thomassen from Norway and Mr. Ross Bartley from the Bureau for International Recycling. The goal of the partnership overall is to promote and improve the environmentally sound management of plastic waste at the regional, national, and the global level, so that in the long term, you can minimize the discharge of plastic waste and microplastic into the environment, including land and water bodies. Since its inception, there has been many developments under the partnership. It was launched in Geneva in November 2019, and the working group held its first meeting face-to-face in the Seychelles in March of this year. Some important highlights from this first meeting is that the working group successfully adopted 4 project groups to undertake its activities, and also agreed on the modalities for pilot projects being considered an important means for the partnership to achieve its goals. The project groups agreed to by the partnership working group are prevention and minimization, plastic waste collection, recycling, and recovery, with a focus on financing and related markets. The third project group is on transboundary movement of plastic waste. And finally, a last but not least is a project group working on outreach, education, and awareness raising, which will help promote the goals of the partnership, its work, and disseminate the outputs developed by the other project groups. Following the meeting of the partnership working group in Seychelles, the project groups developed their work plans and agreed to the activities to be undertaken by each of these project groups. So here's an example of what these work plans look like. Under each project group, there are a series of activities, and under each activity, a number of outputs have been agreed to. And then there are also tentative working steps for developing these outputs, as well as contributors and milestones, meaning deadlines, potential deadlines by which the outputs have to be delivered. And the idea is that the outputs will be presented, some of them that have been prioritized will be presented to the 15th meeting of the Conference of the Parties to be held in July 2021. Now, the reasons it's important for you to, or for those of you interested in submitting pilot project proposals to pay attention to these work plans is that they really provide the guiding framework for the type of activities or projects that will be prioritized under the partnership. So proponents of pilot projects should ensure that their pilot project proposals not only contribute to the overall objectives of the partnership, which are, as I've described, rather broad, but also support the activities identified in the work plans. And you have a link here that provides you with a web page where all the work plans are posted. It's possible for a pilot project to be relevant to one or more of the project groups because, as you've seen, the project groups have been established around clearly defined topics, but you may have a project that span or address several aspects of plastic waste management. The project groups have also developed a list of possible pilot projects that can be used as inspiration, but this list is non-exhaustive and is also considered just as examples. And you will find that on the web page listed here. Some key facts about the pilot project's proposals. The application deadline is on the 24th of September 2020, and that means 2 months after the call for proposal was issued. The indicative budget for each project is between 50,000 and 80,000, and projects would be implemented over a period of 12 to 18 months. There should only be one proponent for each project, although there could be also a different implementing partner. Now, because we want these projects to leverage activities and broadly promote the development of activities that can support the partnership implementation, then we would like to encourage that there would be multiple project partners for each project group. That is, there should be engagement of other members like civil society, the private sector, and the informal sector where possible. Also, in terms of leveraging, evidence of financial or in-kind contributions would also be encouraged. It is very important to pay attention to the eligibility criteria for the pilot projects. So as listed here, proposals can be submitted by parties to the Basel Convention, regional centers under the Basel and Stockholm Convention, and non-for-profit entities, as well as non-party states. In the latter two cases, these entities have to have observer status under the Basel Convention. We've had many questions on this topic, on this issue recently, since we had the first webinar on the pilot project proposals. And so observer status is evidence that if the entity has relevant expertise and interest in participating in proceedings under the Basel Convention. And it's a simple procedure that has to be followed. And on the last slide of this webinar presentation, there is a link to the web page that will provide you with more information on how to request observer status. Now, also very important is that the pilot projects have to benefit a developing country or a country with an economy in transition. And each project has to be supported by a letter of endorsement by the focal point of the party in which the project is to be implemented. In terms of process, as I said, the call for proposals was issued on the 24th of July. There's a 2-month period for submitting proposals, ensuring that the criteria listed here are met. Further down the line, you will find, I will be discussing more the eligibility criteria for proposals, but all of these are included in the pilot project modalities that were adopted by the partnership working group during its first meeting. The pilot project proposals will be screened and selected by a steering group. This steering group is comprised of the co-chairs of the Plastic Waste Partnerships working group, as well as the co-chair of each of the 4 project groups. Now, it is foreseen to avoid issues of conflict of interest that a proponent of a project proposal or implementing partner who's also a member of the working group or an officer of the working group will not be able to participate in the selection process in relation to that proposal. So the Secretariat will assist the steering group in screening the proposals. And as I've mentioned, Appendix 2 of the modalities document contains the criteria against which the proposals will be assessed. So here's the link to the webpage for the call for proposals, where you will find details about the modalities and the criteria. Once the steering group has selected the pilot projects, they will rank the selected projects and prioritize them according to financial resources that are available. The Secretariat will advise the partnership working group as well as proponents of the results of the selection process. The Secretariat will then engage in an agreement with the implementing partner, so that the partner, of course, can be held accountable for implementation and use of the fund. A list of pilot projects that have been selected by the steering group, but for which funding at that point is not available, will be posted on the website of the convention. The pilot projects will be implemented over a period of 12 to 18 months, and the Secretariat will monitor and oversee this implementation, including providing updates to the steering group on progress. Once the projects are finalized, the implementing partner will, of course, have to submit deliverables to the Secretariat and relevant reports. so that the evaluation of the projects can take place. Here also there is a role for the steering group, and the Secretariat will eventually report to the Partnership Working Group as well as the Conference of the Parties about the pilot projects undertaken. What is intended is also that lessons are drawn from these pilot projects to further guide the activities and the work plan of the partnership. In summary, I have here a checklist for submission of proposals. The complete proposals with the requisite documents, supporting documents, should be received by the Secretariat by the 24th of September 2020. Only one proponent or implementing partner will be accepted per proposal, although multiple project partners are encouraged. There are eligibility criteria set out in the pilot project modalities, including for nonprofit entities, a due diligence process that have to be fulfilled. Projects are to benefit developing countries or parties with economies in transitions. Importantly, we ask you to use the template that is provided to facilitate the assessment process. And last but not least, we would need a letter of endorsement from the focal point of the party in which the project is to be implemented. Now, here is a series of links to some of the information that I have presented. Importantly, you can go to the page on the call for proposals, where you will find all the relevant documents, including the templates and the criteria for submission, for selection of pilot projects, as well as the examples of possible pilot projects that were developed by the project groups. And the last bullet point here is also the link to how to apply for observer status under the Basel Convention. This presentation will be shared with you after the webinar so that you can have easy access to all these pages and the information. Thank you for your attention. If you have any question, of course, you have my email address as well as my colleague Susan Wingfield, so you can write to us and we will attempt to respond to your questions. We'll now pause for a few minutes, and after which we will open the floor for any questions that you would like to ask now. We will give priority to questions that are asked orally. And for doing that, you should press on the raise hand icon, which will appear when you hover over with your mouse over your name. It will appear to the right hand side of your name. So when you click that, we will see that you would like to take the floor, and we will ask you to provide your question. In addition, there's a chat box, and you can also use that to send your questions, but I'm not sure we will have time to address all of these. So I will now pause for a minute.